Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jerry Lyons. This is News and Views. Got a really good program for you tonight. We get a chance to tell you about some of our partnerships that we make in the community. And this is the first one that we've done with Citrus Heights, which is just down the road. But this concerns veterans all over our area, Placer County, Sacramento County, and beyond. We also wanted to thank Jim Ronceville for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up. And you are the president of the Veterans Golf Park for Disabled Vets. And we're going to tell you how you can take Jim's challenge to cover yourself in pumpkin guts.
There you go.
Not head to toe, though.
No.
Okay, all right. Just a little bit. But you'll be working for a great cause. These folks have a goal of about $275,000. They want to accomplish a great deal for it, and it will also help the veterans of our area. Jim, if you don't mind, I'm just going to read a little something quickly. Some late-breaking news tonight, since we do have a taped interview at the end of the show with Congressman McClintock. The House of Representatives passed H.R. 692 by Congressman McClintock on a vote of 235 to 194. The legislation guarantees that the sovereign debt of the United States government by authorizing the Treasury Secretary to continue to borrow to pay interest and principal on the debt, even in the event of complete gridlock in Washington. If credit markets doubt that their loans to the federal government, says McClintock, will be repaid in full and on time, we could suffer an interest rate spike that could sink our nation in a sea of red ink. This bill is an absolute guarantee that the sovereign debt of the United States is solid and will be honored. The congressman touches upon our fiscal responsibilities later on in the interview. Right now, we want to give Jim a chance to talk about his project, which basically you can find out if you go to www.allveteransgolf.org, and we'll flash that up on the screen for you. You can also find out some information, thanks Rob, on facebook.com/Veterans Community Center and twitter.com/VeteransGP, #Pumpkin Guts. So please tell us about Operation Pumpkin Guts. It sounds intriguing and low calorie, I hope.
Yes, low calorie. A year ago, there was a project that caught fire, and it was the ice bucket challenge, and it raised a lot of money for some needy people. And so we were trying to find something like that that would hopefully catch fire too. So one of my veteran volunteers came up with the idea of the pumpkin guts.
Okay.
And so we didn't have a lot of time. It was right down to the deadline of Halloween when this came up. So we went to the pumpkin farm on Auburn Boulevard, and they agreed to let us come there and gave us some pumpkins. And this other friend of ours, he brought his camera, brought a pan, and brought 2 knives for cutting pumpkins, and his 3-year-old and his 5-year-old daughter, and an older girl, his 11-year-old daughter. And she said, my younger siblings are going to do this for you, but I'm not going to do it. And so he started cutting these pumpkins open and getting the pumpkin seeds out and so forth for it. And the little kids, as we were about ready to start the video, they were laughing and cutting up, and this little young lady changed from a young lady to a little girl again, and
Is that right?
went over and said, hey, I'll do it. So that's what we did, and it's on our website, and
Okay.
people can go and look at it. And what we're trying to do is we have the old Veterans School on Sylvan Road. It's built in 1862, and we've been remodeling it for 2.5 years.
Wow.
And our goal was to make a day room, if you will, for all veterans, where they can come together and pitch horseshoes, play pool, play bridge, play chess, a lot of things to keep them busy and give them a chance to get acquainted with each other.
Sure.
We have free coffee and a free sweet roll or something like that every morning for them. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have luncheon. On Tuesday, why the United Methodist Church in Citrus Heights volunteered to bring a lunch for the veterans. And that's all free. And so that's been received wonderfully well. And then on Thursdays, we have foot-long, all-beef, kosher hot dogs
Oh my gosh.
for our veterans, and that's free, you know, with coffee and soft drinks and so forth. And we're putting 2 ADA-approved restrooms together right now.
Okay.
And we have all the material. It's been donated by some wonderful people. And Auto Construction and Bueller and Bueller Engineering have said we'll see it through to the end. We'll furnish our superintendent to supervise, and your volunteers can help. So we're waiting any day to start doing that. And
Good.
then we're ready to really get the word out to everybody. We are the only Veterans Community Center from Fresno to Redding. And we welcome all veterans. And we're contemplating also putting up a freedom wall and listing all of the veterans that have ever served in the service. And we're doing that starting with a temporary wall that later on, as it grows, could be moved to a larger site. But we feel that these veterans that held their hand up and gave up the Constitution and served under the Military Code of Justice signed a blank check.
Yeah.
And people gave these veterans 8 tests to determine what fields they would serve best in, and that's where they put them. Some people, of course, were in combat, and some were driving trucks, and some were serving mess, but every one of them did a great job, and those people that paid the price, the big price, of being wounded, of giving their life, of mentally being affected by war, deserve to be remembered. You know, today, only 1 out of 200 people that are eligible to serve actually serve. So the other 199 people don't understand what a veteran goes through in the training process and in protecting all of us so that we can sleep nights for his extended tour. And it usually comes at a time when a boy is meeting girls and going to college and preparing for the rest of his life, but they've given a chunk, a very important chunk of their lives to serve. And some of them have gone on for full careers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as you know today, our Veterans Administration is having a problem taking care of these people. And we don't offer medical help, but we work with post-traumatic and traumatic brain injured veterans because some of us have had problems and learned to deal with them.
Yeah.
And we felt that if we could help one of those people to deal with panic attacks, it would all be worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
And in my life, I've met some interesting people. Ken Venturi was the CBS analyst for golf for 35 years and won the Open in 1964. And he developed an article for one of the golf magazines, One Swing, 7 Shots. And I used a device indoors that he helped me develop, where I can set a person up 36 to 42 inches from it and teach them all of the fundamentals of golf before they ever go to the golf course.
Good.
And then Mather Golf Course came on board and said, you can use what we call the 19th hole, which is a chipping and putting green at the back of the driving range. And then they let us have carts for all of those disabled veterans so that they can go to and from that area. And they are there then able to learn without people watching as they deal with their injuries and so forth.
Sure.
And then after that, they choose a particular day and they start all of their people from the first hole there at Mather, and we can start from the 10th hole, and we can play 10, 11, 12, and 18 until they come. And we've got the carts. The minute they show up, we can clear the course. So a handicapped person, when he feels he's holding someone else up, he will quit. So we don't want that to happen, and that's what they're providing us with. So we can develop a playing speed for those people so that when they do start playing, they will be playing at the same speed as the others and not holding anybody up.
Okay.
And so the flyer we have here is encouraging people to take on this challenge and either dump the guts over their head or maybe make a mask out of the pumpkin itself, and in some way take a video of it and share it with their friends and ask them to challenge. And then accepting the challenge, make some small donation.
Okay.
That's what we're all about.
Will anybody be able to, let's say, tell everybody, I'll tell you what, you give me $10, I'll do this, and then get a team of people to pay them $10 to do something like this, like St. Baldrick's, where you get a bad haircut, and the more donors you get, the bigger you can donate? Can you do something like that? Can you invite your
I'm sure
friends?
that could probably
Okay.
work too if they wanted to do that. We'll accept that type of thing, but we wanted to make it reasonable and fair for everyone,
Sure.
and not ask too much.
Do you have do you have a suggested donation that you want people to know about, or are you leaving that up to the individual?
I'm leaving it up to the individual.
Okay. So here's what you can do. You can go to allveteransgolf.org, and you can find that website. You can find out more information about this. And is that where people can register to say, okay, I'm going to do this, and here's my information?
Well, what they do is they go ahead and take the challenge themselves, prepare their video, and go ahead then and go to our website where you can make a donation, make the donation, send emails or whatever they want to send out to their challenge on their website, Facebook if they do that, and ask them to do the same thing. And that's how we have it set up. It's not as professional as we'd like, but we didn't have much time, and they'll do the job.
Well, sounds like a great idea. Let's go over some of these things here in case you want to help. You can, the primary goal is to purchase the land at $275,000. Goal number 1 is to raise the 40-foot flagpole and French drain the property at $10,000. Goal number 2 is to purchase a Paragolfer, pickup and trailer transport, $60,000. Paragolfer, is that the invention you talked about that you developed?
No, that was developed in Germany,
Okay.
and it takes a person, for instance, that's lost both legs,
Yeah.
can be strapped in it, or someone that's getting over heart surgery
Yeah.
or a stroke, and be put into the proper positions by a toggle switch,
Okay.
and or I guess you would call it what a pilot would use, a joystick,
Sure.
you know.
Okay.
And we teach that in the building too. They come into the building and they learn how to guide that vehicle.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and before they go out, we want them to be adequately familiar.
Okay.
And we go with them whenever they go to play golf. We take the device there and we strap them in it correctly, and we go with them so that we can see any problems that they might have. Maybe something needs readjusted, and give them some advice at times how they should do this or how they should do that. Then when they're done, we take it back and get it ready for the next person.
Okay. And this is all free for those who participate. That's terrific. Very good. The goal number 3 is operating costs for a year, which is $75,000. And the stretch goal number 4 is to pay off the mortgage at $100,000.
That's true.
And that means that the particular place where you hold your events, that would completely belong to you. You're paying off all the outstanding debt on it.
Yes.
$100,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah, well, the $200,000 for that piece of property next door to us, I didn't explain that. We have room on this property to park, I would say 25 to 30 automobiles.
Oh, okay.
But if we have a bigger event, you know, we can, for instance, have a dinner there where we could have, say, 100 people.
Yeah.
You need more parking than that. A lot of people come by themselves, and this would provide that. It would also provide some much needed room for other activities.
Okay.
And it would also give us more room for the Freedom Wall before we have to move it to a larger site. What we're going to do there too is at sundown every day, we're going to take the flag down, we're going to have taps played, and we're going to have an honor guard there, hopefully, as we advance into the program.
Okay.
So to let people know what these veterans have given of their lives, we've got flags along the fence, and we'll have a 40-foot flagpole there with the state flag, of course, the American flag, the state flag, and the missing in action and prisoner of war flag will fly there with it.
Now, how long have you been involved in the Veterans Center in Citrus Heights?
We started out, we were going to build a golf course.
Okay.
And we were working on that out at Gibson Ranch. And it takes time to do something like this. And the fellow that managed it had to use that property, and he decided to build some soccer fields there. So that canceled that project. We looked for more land, but they've got what they call a vernal pool program where some shrimp are supposed to be able to, very rare, supposed to be able to live in that. And so they've restricted working in most of those areas. It's just financially impossible to build a golf course on a raw piece of land.
Right.
So next best thing we could do, Mather came to our rescue with their golf course, and we were able to do everything else inside this building.
Let me ask you about your military service, and by the way, thank you very much for your service to our country. You were in the Vietnam conflict?
I was in the Korean War, and I was in at the very end of World War II. The war was over. I'm 86, and I was 17 when I went in the service, but the war was, the hostilities were still declared, so I am technically a veteran.
Are you, did you stay in the military for a career? Or was that?
No,
Okay.
I just put in 6 years.
That's great.
Yeah.
In the Army?
Army first, and I was a machine gunner, and then in the Air Force, why I changed to a finance officer. It was a little better duty.
Yeah,
I learned after the Army career.
I don't blame you. Yeah, it's a tough life.
It is a tough life, yes.
Especially when there's a conflict going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so once again, we're going to give the information for you, and then we'll be taking a break. allveteransgolf.org, and let me give the other information. If you go to Facebook, go to facebook.com/veteranscommunitycenter, twitter.com/veteransgp, #pumpkinguts. And I sent you, I think, the template for the Channel 4 ad.
Yes.
If you can design one for us, we'll give you some publicity for that. Is there a deadline for this particular event to take place? I believe it's already started, but do you is it going to go to a particular deadline, or is it open all year?
Well, it's I would say as long as the pumpkin season lasts,
Okay.
you know, probably through November.
Good.
Maybe into December.
Okay.
You know, if it caught, we'd be so tickled. But it's been a fun thing, no matter what. You know, you just keep trying, and everything we do for the veterans free.
Okay.
And we get some wonderful people that come in there, you know, and
Okay. We're going to make you a copy of this. If you want, please take a section of your interview here that we're going to give you on a DVD, and use that on your website if you'd like, and drum up a little publicity. We'd be very pleased.
well, thank you very much. And I'm certainly pleased to have the opportunity to meet your family of watchers.
Well, we've got a lot of them sprinkled throughout all of our systems, and I'm hoping that this will get through and activate somebody. I'm sure it will. Jim, thank you very much for your time this evening.
Thank you.
And Roger, thank you for coming along too. We're going to take a break. When we do, we're going to come back and we will meet our guest, Mike Alway, who is a police officer from the Rockland Police Department. He's going to tell you about a great event coming up that you'll be able to participate in. It's completely free, but by donation, that will hopefully help you to be ignored by some catalytic converter thieves. We'll be right back.